High-grade Gold Frame Amatsu Mina Custom. Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2RCB's Gundam Reviews.net. Happy today to be bringing you a look at the third of the Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker, if you will, of the Gundam universe. It's the Gundam Astray Gold Frame Amatsu Mina Custom. The name is a mouthful, as is the backstory, but it's the kind of thing that it's great to be getting home in a proper 1/144th kit. September 2013 release. From Bandai, of course, with the series being Gundam Seed Astray, although you could argue with that. There's the name bar, absolutely massive down there, including the kanji for Amatsu. Love the way the art looks. And high-grade Gundam Seed is still alive and kicking all the way up to number 59 with a price 1,800 yen. And when you're looking to buy Gunpla, Robot Damashi, and lots more, don't forget to check out HobbyLink Japan, and there's direct links down below in the description. Now, fans of the anime only may be wondering, where does this mouthful of an MS come from? And well, after Gundam's fortunes were somewhat flagging at the end of the 90s, we had Gundam Seed at the beginning of the decade that ended up just taking over and just absolutely becoming a phenomenon in Japan, leading to Seed Destiny. And I think a big part of that was at the same time they had a spin-off Gaiden telling additional tales of additional characters and, more importantly, additional MSs. Astray was the name, as it was sort of side stories as they weren't on the main road. And Tokida Koichi, my absolute favorite mangaka, and of course his writing partner, they've been doing a great job with Astray from the very beginning. They're on EXA right now. But after the originals, and here's where you've got to see it, it's not the Mina Custom, it's actually a slightly different Gold Frame Amatsu in the first one. And spoilers, well, what happens to them while they lose? And anyway, his sister ends up, Mina, is going to be taking it over, and then we get to see it in all sorts of the spin-offs after that, even with different pilots. It's been a constant thorn/friend in both Guy and Lo's sides. So let's see how the actual MS is going to be. With a quick look here at it in its native environment, this is Astray's here. And you can see, there's Mina just hanging out with Lo, and this is the one that everybody is a big fan of. The red frame, of course, the blue frame, probably its least popular incarnation there. And there it is, and if you take a look up and down, you'll notice that the shins and the high heels are going to be very appropriate for it being the female sibling as the pilot. But before looking at the high grade, I think it's worth going back to the 1/100th, and if you take a look at the box there, what does it say up at the top? Well, it's Destiny Astray, so you can count it in the numbering system you want. And this is going to be the same MS. You'll notice that it's got the female shins and, more importantly, the high heels down there. The same name. They're not going to be mentioning Mina on the cover of this one. But one of my big complaints about this one is that because it was the female version and you didn't get the regular feet, it would have been nice if they had done that. Bandai's taking care of that with the high grade. They are going to be offering one with the male flat feet. It just seems a little bit redundant. They could have thrown them in here with this kit. But nonetheless, this one is always going to have a special place in my heart for a very simple reason. And I used to see it on the shelf. This is a 2006 release here for the 1/100th. And I hadn't read Astray yet. And when I looked at the shelves, completely objectively, and in terms of, I didn't care whether I've seen the anime or not, or I didn't have any attachment to the MS, going strictly by look, strictly by impact, strictly by weapons and everything else about this, an angry gold frame with all this weaponry, it was my absolute favorite MS in terms of just on superficial reasons, and so it was great once I actually got into the manga and ended up enjoying it just as much, which is why I couldn't be even more excited to have this home in high grade, finally. So here it is, the side of the box. Notice, when you look at this crazy thing, the left and the right arms are going to be different, and that's because the gold frame, yes, it's mysterious arm. It used to be white and gold only, and of course when a bad guy gets their hands on it, he might as well paint it up in black. But more importantly, oh Blitz Gundam, he of piano fame, you'll notice that his arm, well, if the gold frame is missing one, why not put one on, especially when it's got the Mirage colloid in there, which means cloaking, oh yes, towards the end of Volume 3. So there you can see the back as the wings that I'm just going to keep calling them get all folded up. And this is something that you're always going to find entertaining. The names of all the weapons here, it's just a katakana mouthful. But more importantly, look how awesome they are. Between the Wolverine Claw over here, you've got the Blitz's already great guns. You've got the Harpoons, the big claws, a beam saber there coming out of the Tricaros. And that's answering questions about that. And of course, when you take a look at the actual kit here, unpainted, take a look at the back details there. With an action base too, you can get it up and elevated. But you'll notice that the frame is going to be yellow there, not gold with red all over the place. How much is seals? How much is plastic? We can find out soon. But first, the back, where you get to see some nice looking art down there. They do have the proper shoes on. What are we talking about? 18 meters, so this is not a small Gundam. And there they are, the original pilot down there on the left before he parted, and then, well, came back because, hey, if you're telling a decade worth of manga, you might as well bring them all back. And there's Mina down there from the Sahaku family. So let's see the actual kits. As it's inside the box, we go. And what are you getting? Some red parts there, lots of seals, gold polycaps there, or yellow, different shades of brown there to go against the very black plastic. Gold for the actual frame, you've got some beams, lots of gold and black, and of course, yes, all Gundams. This is always a good thing. What else do we have? Well, the old manual and an ad. Gundam Weapons, Hobby Japan MOOC, focusing on, yes, the frames. For the plates themselves, you're going to see a lot of similarities at the beginning to the blue and red frames. A1, A2, and the label on here is going to be just a stray frame, as you can see the parts that are symmetrical, and the hands over there, and the special parts for the chest and waist. Here's D1 and D2. You'll notice that these are just separated. Again, it's just going to say a stray frame, but here's the important part. Look at that. Gloss indeed. They have just pumped the gloss up to 11 here, and it's going to be looking great. They may have chinsed out on the gold, but that's probably a little bit easier for you to fix. This is looking really good, and for only 1800, comes across as a huge bonus. And after the A and the D plates, well, you're skipping all the way in the alphabet up to I, as the red and the blue frame plates came before this. But more importantly, just look at that, the big gloss black. And these are the parts that I'm just crazy about. First of all, you've got a totally unique shoulder over there, as the left and the right arms are not symmetrical, something you never see, and it just makes this already armed to the teeth exciting kits even more exciting in my books. You can see all the parts for the backpack over there, and the head is going to be looking very interesting. Its sculpt definitely stands out, and it looks like it's going to have some seals over there. As you can see, the top of the head, the front of the chest, and you get to see the massive, massive claws there on the back that provide the wings and so much firepower, and more importantly, visual impact both in the manga and now on your shelves. Here's the J plate, and this one threw me for a loop, and the I, the plate just before this, and the J plate are both going to be listed as being specific to the gold frame. But how about this? Why am I thrown for a loop? Well, if you take a look there, you'll notice that it's gray for all the extra colors, for the weapons, for everything over on the Blitz's shields, and for the back and the harpoons and stuff like that, where with this one, it's actually going to be brown. You can see you've got some more unique hands there. Remember, they need a gold hand and some regular hands. You can see that the three weapons are not going to be separated. The swords for the side skirts are looking good, as are the triangles there with all their parts. Just interesting they went with such a drastic color change. And with a massive backpack typical of Seed and Seed Destiny, well, you can see that we're going to be getting even more of this nice glossy black. That I plate wasn't enough to contain its power. The K plate is going to be giving you even more. The one thing that's going to be bugging me is just from what's in that corner, well, you can imagine it's just going to be the flat soles of these instead of the high-heeled version. I wish they had just thrown them both in so that you can choose with the one kit, similar to something they've done with things like the Gelgoog and things in the past. More gold here for the L, although it is, remember, going to be yellow. As you can see, individual Wolverine claws down there, as you've got the three of them. And you've got the parts there that are going to be going into the actual toes of the high heels, all detachable as they get ready for the male version. And this might just be probably the only disappointment here. M1, no, that's not a joke for the Astray. Gold frame, what are you getting? The Blitz's shoulder is going to have a nice red piece there. The goatee and the eyes in red. You've got the front skirts are going to have some red parts, as well as some other little details down for the actual shins. However, a lot of the other parts are going to be coming from seals, which after the Wing Gundam I was raving about, well, I don't know what else you can expect, because actually the 1/100th, almost exactly the same. You can see there are going to be some golds, but it's the red that's the real loser in terms of plastic, as there's going to be all sorts of little trim parts there that need to be put on by seals instead of being done in plastic. It's all a question of how it's actually going to work in practice. PC001 here in yellow, Saber 9s, and you've also got the hooks, or the wire actually, to man the harpoons and finally get that white whale, or red frame. And a quick glance through the manual is going to show all the plates there, as we've seen quite a few of the Astrays, and they've had to plan for all of them simultaneously there. Lots of stickers getting attached onto the head, and for the shoulder there of the Blitz, as you can see, the 4 different seals. and that's going to be applying to all the parts, even over to the actual gold frame shoulder with its little flap off to the side. Individual Wolverine claws there as the high heels are all going to get put together, and you're going to be covering up the shins more than on the original, and once you've got the body together, it's already looking pretty armored, thanks to those great looking shoulders, crazy legs, and that oversized head. Before it's time to get that backpack ready, red seals providing the colors. You'll notice that they draw them in gray, even though they've actually cast them in purple over there. You can put them on. Hopefully they're going to sit well when they're attached in there, when they're in their together position there. You can see the beam saber. The claws are going to be popping out. Seals again here for the actual Tricaros shield. And there's the swords in hand. Hopefully they're going to fit on the hips well. And if you want to send those off, you can, if you've got a wire and maybe a Dovin Wolf stand around. Here she is in action with all of its katakana brought to bear. Just fantastic poses. And if you want to get them up on a stand, you know that it's going to be even more exciting. Beam saber included. And on the back, you'll notice that this one is, of course, painted like a pro. And how do you do that? Well, black 100%. They're not doing anything like they often do with a dark gray to sort of look like black. Here it's just straight on 100%. And you're going to undercoat in gold and then go over it with clear yellow, 100% of each. And then a drop of clear orange on top of that for the other colors. And what I was calling brown, neutral gray 70% and dark earth 30% with a drop of red. There's the family again in happier and angrier energy bursting times. Gotta say, I'm impressed with the unbox so far for the simple fact that even though it is just the Mina version and we're not getting both sets of shoes, I just absolutely love the glossy black that we're getting there. This is easy to fix if you just want to go get some gold paint. And the red, well, it's pretty similar to the 1/100th there. This doesn't bother me as much because when you've got an MS this ambitious, and when you're slapping on this much kind of weaponry, which is a habit in the manga, because why not? You don't have to deal with animators. You've just got one guy drawing it and drawing it oh so cool. It's the kind of thing where it's going to have lots more craziness, and because of that, it's hard to do it all in plastic. So for 1800, I actually think that this may come across as a steal. Don't forget to come check out the parts and then see it all put together next to the red and blue frame brothers. Anyway, thanks for watching, and please let me know what you think. See ya! You know, over the course of the manga, I really was the most consistent compared to the gold frame and you there, blue frame. Except for that time that I went all Stargazer. And ignore my current V-fin, please.